Jai Hind everyone, welcome back to the Patriotic IAS. Let's start our IAS Spaces for our daily current affairs. We have 5 topics that we will discuss one by one that are relevant for the UPSC, and mostly they are from the mains topics. So first topic that we are going to discuss is the Cambodia, Myanmar and the Laos that has been emerged at the organized financial crime. They have been the hub of the organized financial crime. So most of the cyber security issue we are facing from these countries. So this will be part of GS paper 3 internal security. So you can use this point that where what are the attack point, what are the sources, and here you will also use this into the IR as well. Next news that we will analyze is a no limit bromance that is not just a bilateral matter. Here you will see that the closeness that is further and that is increasing, rising into the recent years between the Russia and the China. This analysis, this news analyze that what will be the impact on the global world order or international world order that is going on and how it can change. This news article also discussed its impact on the India's concern and India's choice into the international relation and at the global stage. Then we will see that the vegetable triumvirate, inflation and the takeaway. Here it will be mainly discuss the tops, the tomato, onion and potato. These three products that has a disproportionate impact on the inflation in the form of CPI and CPI headline. So we will study what is the difference between the headline and the core inflation and how they are going to impact. Then we will study the ICC has done well to move against Israel Hamas leaders for the Gaza crimes. Here you will see that the International Criminal Court that has released there has request for the release of the arrest warrant of the leader of the Israel, such as the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister of the Israel, as well as the many of the top leaders of the Hamas against the crime against the humanity. Okay, so this will help you to know the basic about the ICC so that you can use into the prelims as well as you can use it into your international relation, the relation between these words. Okay. In the last, we will see that the concern over the voters turnout data, there has been the case that is going on, the discussion debate is going on into the Supreme Court, and it is filed by the ADR with respect to recently we saw that the Election Commission of India that the immediate release after the election, the first phase, second phase, third phase, the data was something else when it was released after the few days, when the revised data was the difference. So the question is that why there is so much huge difference between these data. So that is being questioned. We'll analyze one by one. Before entering into the discussion of this topic, we will try to solve some of the questions from the topic that we covered yesterday. So let's start from the first question. Consider following wetlands and their location. So you have to match the wetlands and their location. How many of the pairs are correct? The first is the Hokera wetland paired with the Punjab, Renuka wetland paired with the Himachal Pradesh, Rudra Lake paired with the Tripura, and Sasthamkota Lake into the Tamil Nadu, that is paired with the Tamil Nadu. How many of the correct? So Horeka wetland, this is into the Punjab, so this is incorrect, not this is into the Kashmir, this is into the Pir Panjal region, so this is incorrect. Renuka wetland, Himachal Pradesh, correct. Rudra Lake, yes, it is correct in Tripura. Sasthamkota Lake, this is not into the Tamil Nadu, this is into the Kerala. And this is the largest freshwater lake wetland into the Kerala. So the answer will be B. The largest overall lake is the Womban Kotta, something like that. After that, this is the Ashtamundi, but they are the salt water, not the fresh water. Into the fresh water it is the Sasthamkota. Next question. Which syndrome is associated with an increase in risk of the Alzheimer's disease in women? Yesterday we saw that it is the Turner syndrome that is due to the lack of the X chromosome, and we saw that due to this lack into the X chromosome, this is going to impact the Alzheimer disease as well. Alzheimer disease, that is associated with the, you lost your memory, you cannot recall, you cannot recognize your own parents, you cannot recognize your own children, you cannot recognize your own house, anything. So that this is associated with the Turner syndrome that impact the Alzheimer, and you will see that the women's impacted by the Alzheimer is 2 times the impact on the men. Third question, which of the following statement is correct regarding ICRA, Investment Information and the Credit Rating Agency? A. ICRA is a subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India. ICRA provides credit rating for the bonds and the fixed deposit only. ICRA is headquartered into the New Delhi. ICRA doesn't provide credit rating for the financial institutions. So here you will see that the first, it is subsidiary of RBI. No, it is the independent agency, and it doesn't provide just rating for the bonds and the fixed deposit, but it is providing for the other areas. So due to this only, this is incorrect. It's headquartered into the New Delhi. This is correct. It doesn't provide a credit rating for the financial. This provides the credit rating for the financial institution as well as what the other entities. So D is the incorrect. Next question. Which ministry is responsible for the implementing the National Green Hydrogen Mission in India? Ministry of the New and Renewable Energy, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Ministry of Finance. So please answer. What will be the answer? Because yes, you can eliminate this. So here you can eliminate this as well. Confusion could be here and here. This is the ministry that regulate this, not for the implementation. Whenever you go for the implementation, this green hydrogen is considered as the renewable energy source, and that's why you can guess for the A, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. This is implementing this. Last question. What is the main objective of the National Electricity Plan 2023? To achieve 100% electrification in the rural area by 2025. This is not the part. Already we have the aimed for it by the 2022. So this is not to promote the renewable energy and reduce the carbon emission. Yes, this is the correct aim and objective of our National Electricity Plan 2023. Okay, so privatize all the state-owned electricity distribution companies, not all. To increase coal-based power generation, no, we are wanting reducing this, so this can be eliminated. The confusion could be here and here, so you will know that this is already we have as per the government achieved, but not into the ground. This is the issue. So this is all about from this Furious 5 session that we solve 5 questions from the previous, the yesterday, the one day back, whatever the news we have discussed, so that we can revise, we can recall, so that we can increase our efficiency and effectiveness whenever we are going to attempt the question into the UPSC prelims. So now we will start from the front page. The front page first news talk about the Sun's division speech into speeches EC tells BJP and Congress. So here the Election Commission of India continuously, you will see that the continuously instructing the political party, mainly the BJP and Congress, please sons your divisive speeches, particularly those who are the lead campaign campaigners. Here you will see that the unprecedented thing, the unique thing about this is that whoever is making the statement, the notice is going to the president of the party. Now, the President JP Nadda and the Kharge, Mr. Kharge has received these notices. However, the comment mainly coming from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Congress President Rahul Gandhi. This is all about from the here. Next news that we are going to take is the Ireland, Norway and Spain set for the formally recognize the statehood of the Palestine. So here you will see that these three nations, Ireland already have compared this Palestinian statehood with its own movement and its own statehood, because we know that the Ireland had already, there was the movement against the UK dominance and the movement against the UK, because it was the part of the UK. However, later it became the separate nation. Norway and Spain, Norway already was the involved into the this peace talk, and we know that the in 1990s there was the famous Oslo Accord that was the result of the involvement of the Norway. Oslo Peace Accord, this is very important treaty, and this was the deal under that we achieved some of the ground of the peace process, and after that the Palestinian authority was evolved. Okay, so here you will see that already that is going on. Here the data has been given, how many death toll has been there. Already it is started with the attack from the Hamas on the Israel, 1200 death. After that the Israel start attacking. The Hamas also have the hostage, taken hostage of the 252 people of the Israel. And now when the reverse back retaliation is coming, 35,000 people have been died, and near about 8,000 are the children, and the majority of others are the women. This is the thing that has been mentioned. Next news, again, this is the political news. The Hemant Soren, he was the chief minister of the Jharkhand. He was arrested by the ED. Now he has petitioned into the Supreme Court for the release, for the bail petition. However, Supreme Court has denied on the basis of that there was the many of the data that was not mentioned into the bail petition, and that's why it was going to dismiss this petition. However, they withdraw it to take the permission to withdraw, and they are going for the to appeal into the special court. Already this bail petition was there into the special court. Now they will try their luck into the special court. Here the next important news again on the front page is the High Court cancelled OBC. High Court of the Calcutta, West Bengal, cancelled the OBC certificates issued into the West Bengal since 2010. So here you will see that the near about the how many thousand? I think 80,000 of the 5 lakh of the OBC certificate has been announced, had been provided. However, this will be cancelled because the High Court has found that the some of the portion of the act under that this OBC certificate has been provided is not constitutional. For example, this is the West Bengal backward class and other scheduled caste and the scheduled tribe reservation of the vacancies in the services post. Okay, so already there is the act, and in this act there has been so many lacuna that has been found by the High Court, and it has struck down. Now the thing is that here those who have already got the job by this certificate, that will be not impacted. However, the certificate and the future prospect, that will be not there. And beside that, it has directed the West Bengal Backward Class Welfare Department and the State Backward Class Commission to prepare a report for the state legislature. So this is all about from the front page news. Next important news that we are going to take is again this Cambodia, Myanmar and Laos emerge as the hub for the organized financial crime. So there is a lot of attack, and the most of the attack, near about the more than 50% of the attack that is coming from these 3 nations, Cambodia, Myanmar and the Laos. Here you will see, and there is the linkage with the China because these are written into the Chinese language, and that's why the Chinese connection we cannot rule out. So whenever you are going to bring the cyber security, please use this fact so that you can improve your answer. Next important news that we are going to take is a no limit bromance that is not just a bilateral matter. So here this news article mainly analyzing that what could be the future prospect of the relationship between the China, Russia, US, and also how this will be cause of concern for the India. So here the main discussion point is that what will be the world order in context of the Palestine and Israel, the conflict that is going on, Russia and Ukraine conflict that is going on. Mainly it is talking about the Russian invasion to the Ukraine and the closing relationship and the closing interaction between the China and the Russia. So its feasibility, because we know that the world order now is the US dominate world order. There is no question on that. The fight is for the second place, and the second place it will be the Russia and the China. Maybe into the future in some area the Chinese can dominate and can compete with the US, but not in alone, they need some support. Here you will see that This is talking about the in context of this Ukrainian war and the sanction from the Western countries. There has been the growing closeness, growing strengthening relationship between the Russia and China, and it has given that the near about the 40 times they have met into the last 11 years. These two leaders from the Russia and the China. So here you will see that there has been the 5 phases of the relationship between the Russia and the China as per the writer. The writer is the Mahesh Sachdev. He is the former Indian ambassador, means IPS officer. He has Indian IFS officer, Indian Foreign Service officer, and Indian ambassador to the different countries. Here he is talking about that there has been the 5 phases in 2 centuries. 2 centuries means the 200 years. There has been the 5 phases where the Russia and the China relation has been seen the closeness as well as the adversary, rivalry. For example, the first phase was the Tsarist Russia. The Tsarist Russia means it was the king. The Tsar, the king in the Russia are known as the Tsar. Okay, so this is the spelling. CZAR, and they were ruling. At that particular time, the Russia was very strong and China was vulnerable to the colonial dominance. Not directly dominated, but yes, the different colonial power were dominating the China, and that's why it was weak. And in that context, there has been some of the controversial areas such as their territories, Chinese territories that was captured by the Tsarist Russia. After that, we see that when this USSR evolved and the communist revolution movement started, then there was some of the closeness between the Russia and the China was seen till the 1949 when the China got independence. Not independence, in the civil war, the Chinese Communist Party won over the party that was supported by the West, the capitalist party that is known as the Kuomintang. Okay, so here you will see that after that there were the differences arises between them, and it was on the basis of the ideological differences, on the basis of the ideology of the communism of the Mao and the ideology that is followed by the Russia, that was mainly based on the first it was the Marx ideology, then Lenin ideology, after that the Stalin ideology. We see that the differences increased, and there was the 1962 war between the India and the China. At that particular time, Russia remained neutral. Russia don't want it to India goes to into the camp of the Western and capitalist country, and that's why it doesn't supported China the way China wanted. And further, in the 1969, there was the war between the China, a small battle between the China and Russia itself on the question of the border dispute. So you will see that this is the border area that was disputed. Let me show you. This is the area. This is the Usri River, that is the tributaries of the Amur River, and this is the area that is being disputed. The China claimed that this area has been captured by the Russia. This was a territory in the past was under the China. So they demand for this territory in the same manner as there is the border dispute with the India into the Ladakh area and Arunachal Pradesh area. The same is there with the Russia as well. So we see that there has been the conflicting relationship, and in this context, in 1972, the United States tried to take the benefit of the rivalry between the Russia and the China. They reached to the China and they tried to make the closeness with the China by helping them, by providing them, thinking that if we will give the support, the Chinese, the communist China into the future, they will turn into the liberal China, and that's why the supportive of the capitalist bloc. And in that case, you will see that there was the Tiananmen Square protest into the 1989 that is very famous, and under that the Chinese army killed many of the students who were protesting for the more liberal, more democracy, more freedom into the China. So here you will see that despite this event, the Chinese army killed many of its citizens, those who are demanding for the more freedom of speech and the liberal type of the policy. They were killed by their own army, and despite that, the West under the US leadership, they keep supporting the Chinese, thinking that the China will turn into a liberal and the supportive of the capitalists. You will see that particularly there was the capitalism that was introduced into the economy by this Deng Xiaoping. This is a very famous president of the China. Under that, the Chinese economic growth reached on its climax. So you will see that yes, there was the continual support, and in this support, the Western countries, they provided the investment, technology, raw material, all this thing to the China. Even the diplomatic support whenever the China needed against the Russia. However, you will see that in this time, the China emerged as the world factory into the economy, into the production, and now you will see that in this time, there was the time into the 1990s when there was the disintegration of the Russia, and in that case, the Russia, this USSR was disintegrated and different countries come into the independence, and the main country that emerged was the Russia, and there was the separation of the Central Asian republics. And in this Central Asian Republic, the China wanted its domination. The competition into the Central Asia for the domination into the Russia and the China started. So you will see that the Chinese and Russian relation that was being competent to each other into the many areas. However, the West is supporting the China continuously. However, by the 2012, it became very clear that the China has become a main competent to the US, and the US worried at that particular time. They thought that now our competition is not with the Russia, now our competition is with the China, because the Chinese economy now started giving tough competition to the US itself. Now the focus shifted from the containing Russia instead of the containing the China. The shift turned from the Russia to the China. Here you will see. Okay. And after that, at that particular time, the rapprochement between the Russia and the China now started. You become the friend, now you are becoming the enemy. So the old enemy will now turning into the friend. This is the equation that you will see that. And in that context, this friendship between the Russia and the China reached its peak into the 2022 when they both declared that their ties had no limit. And now due to after this just summit and this just declaration, the Russia attacked the Ukraine, and now the Western sanction was imposed on the Russia. And in this context, Russia become more closer to the China. Here you will see the continuous Chinese closeness, and due to the blockade and the different type of the sanction that is coming from the China. However, you will see the economy. Now there has been a lot of increase into the trade and economy. For example, there has been the improvement into the quantitative as well as the qualitative ties between the Russia and the China. At present, into the 2000, as per the data from the 2023, the trade between the Russia and the China has been $240 billion. $240 billion. Please remember that this is the figure. And this has been the growth of the 26% over the previous year due to the war on the Ukraine, and there was the closeness due to the sanction imposed on the Russia. Okay. So now you will see that the Russia is now predominantly dependent on the Chinese market after the sanction. And now the Russian fuel and the energy supply is into the China. Here you will see that now it has been the 21 million barrel per day. Russian are supplying the crude oil to the China. However, you will see that the China want to make a balance with the US as well as the Russia. China is very smart. They know that where they are getting the benefit. They want to benefit from the everywhere. So here their trade with the US is continuously high. And you will see that the trade between the China and US is still $575 billion. It is due to the historical context that their relationship was very much close after the 1972 and continuously till the 2012. 2012. Okay, so here you will see that still the relationship between the China and US, if you will compare with the India, India's trade with the China or the Russia or the US is very low as compared to the mutual trade between the Russia and US. Here you will see that the India's trade with the US and the China is near about $118 billion, and that is a 1/5 of the trade between the US and China. 100, 500. You can compare the near about 5 times. So here you will see the relationship 2 times with that relationship, that trade amount between the Russia and the China. This is you will see that the $240 billion here, it is between the Russia and the China, and the 575 billion dollar with the US and Russia. Here I want to say that what is the equation? The China is very smart. China is not want to be breakdown of the economic relation with any countries, because Chinese want the market, because they have become the world factory. They have lot of production. They have, if you will see that the real capitalism that is into this Chinese market. Okay, so here you will see that however, due to this Putin G summit, recently we saw that they didn't mention that what they are going to take a stand against the US or the Western, and that's why they must have been trying to avoid the Western sanction and other such restriction. Here you will see that however, there is the recognition that the US is continuously want to dual containment, and the US want to contain both Russia and the China now. Okay. Here it has given the relationship between the Russia and the China into the trade and the dependency. Whenever for the mutual interaction or for the mutual relationship to be improved, to be become main closure, we need to the convergent point. There should be always some point that is needed by the one countries with the other countries. There is the mutual dependency. You will see that the Russia is dependent on the China for the dual use material that can be used into the civilian use as well as the military use in the context of the Ukraine war. Russia need that, and it is being provided by the China. However, the China also wants something from the Russia. What China want? China want the raw material from the Russia. They also want the mining right into the Siberian area, and they want access to the how the Russian has achieved into the so many of the technological advancement into the areas such as the avionics, nuclear power and space. Already they are the leader. Now they have the technology. Despite their economic decline, they have still a very high grade and advanced technology in avionics, space and nuclear power that the Chinese want. Chinese want one more thing. They want a recognition from the Russian that the China also can play a dominant role into the Central Asia. This is the main thing here it is given. So please remember this thing. This is very important. Here now it is coming with the what is the main thing? Why the Central Asia is important? Here it is discussed that the Central Asia, there is a theory that talk about that the whoever will control the Central Asia, that is known as the Middle Kingdom, they will rule the globe, and that's why most of the country they want to dominate into the Central Asia. However, this has not been proved till now. There is no such thing that if those who are controlling the Central Asia, they are ruling the world. But there is the theory that is given that the Central Asia position is very strategic and the most important to rule over the world. Here you will see that Now, when there will be the new Cold War, and this is mainly aimed at the containing the US and the US dominance that was established into the post-Second World War global eco-political architecture. Eco means economic political architecture, and now the Chinese want to do it by the different initiative. For example, the BRICS, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and the Belt and Road Initiative. All these are the further step to achieve restraining the US dominance and to break down the US dominated world order that is dominated into the economic and political architecture. Okay, how it is going to impact the India? You will see that the India's mostly in the GDP there is no such dependency on the Russia, but if you will go on the military terms, most of Indian are these military equipments, they are coming from the Russia. And now, due to the close relationship between the China and Russia, China can pressurize Russia to supply the different equipments that India needed or operated. For example, now we are very happy with the BrahMos, but it is in the collaboration with the Russia. Russia provide the technology, we do the assembly and some other thing, but mainly it is the Russian technology that make us enable so that we can produce and we can export. We are exporting this to the Vietnam and the many of the Asian countries as well as the African countries, but this is totally vulnerable under the Chinese pressure. Chinese can pressurize the Russia anytime, and at any time the Russian can restrict India. However, Russian want India to be the main purchaser, main client of its equipment. However, there is always something that can be spoiled, because into the international world there is no permanent enemy or the permanent friend. This relationship change with the change in the national interest, and you will see that the changing national interest here. Okay, here you will see that while India has several reservations about the existing global architect, but yes, India want to change into the global architecture. We want a new world order where India's potential, India's capability, India's place, India's status could be recognized as per our status, as per our capability. But however, we cannot trust the Chinese. We think that the US created world order is more rational, more just as compared to the Chinese dominated world order. The main India's focus area is that there should be the multipolar world order where the India should be also work as a pole. Okay, so India work as the equal pole. However, we see that we have continuously into the past even, we were not trapped by this Cold War politics. We were tried to make our own path, and it was under the non-alignment and the Third World Solidarity Initiative. Non-alignment movement and the Third World Solidarity, that was our main thing. Now you will see that now the thing is changing. However, India should keep its strategic autonomy, and it should not be trapped into any of the such alignment. We should make our own path, mainly based on the strategic autonomy. That should be the continue, because it has been the very hard earned strategic autonomy. Okay, so India should shape its own strategy, its own decision on the basis of the national interest and on the basis of the win-win situation. This is all about that has been discussed here, so please remember all these things. Next news that we are going to take is a vegetable to rate inflation and a takeaway. Here it is being discussed that how there has been the impact of the vegetable on the consumer price index. So you should know that there is the consumer price index. This is on the retail level. For example, you and I will go generally on the general store and other stores, and we purchase the thing for the consumption, for our own consumption. This is the consumer price index, because we are going to consume by ourselves. But there is the wholesale price index, that is for those who are who are going to purchase from the factories, and they are going to sell their product not to the consumer but the mediator. Those after that they will sell to the consumer. So they are known as the wholesale price index. Here you will see that the CPI basket has the 299 items. So what is the CPI? This index is based on the calculation of the different items that the consumers, you and I, consume on a daily basis. For example, it could be the vegetable, it could be the chairs, it could be the almirah, it could be the bed, it could be anything like the we consume. So there is the 299 items, and we add up the price of these items, and we see that the how much increase in the price has been observed into the recent time. This is the way, this is the approach by that we calculate this consumer price index. However, in this consumer price index, out of this only 6% is weightage given to the vegetable. However, the impact is very high. Out of this tomato, onion and the potato, they are in the combination known as the top. They account for the 2.2% of the overall CPI basket. Out of the 6, these 2.2% are this top: tomato, onion and potato. If in your house these three things, and with the chili, I think TOPC should be there. So if you have the chili, you can survive. You don't need for any other vegetable. So that's why they have the significant constitute. Here you will see that we have seen that the continuous fluctuation in this tomato, onion and the potato price, and that's why the continuous increase into their CPI as well, impact into the CPI that has been given here into the sometimes into the month of the February and March, the tomato price that soars to the 202%. So this is the level of the fluctuation, and that's why this is going to impact overall consumer price index. One more thing you should know that there is the two types of the consumer price index. The first is the CPI core, and the second is the CPI headline. Generally we see the CPI headline. So what is the difference between the core and the headline? So there is the CP, consumer price index. This is the headline, and other one is the CPI core. So you will see that in the core here 299 items we saw, and in this there is a lot of things that could be including the your textile. It can include the vegetable, energy, fuel, other thing, fruits or vegetable, all this come into the one. Besides that, it's include the cereal products. It's also include the products such as your products made of the plastic, such as the jars, bottles, product made of the steel, iron, all these things like the chairs, doors, everything that comes under this thing. Okay. However, when out of this thing we exclude this two things. One is the food and other is the fuel. If you will exclude this will result into the core. So this is the thing. So you will find that if you will exclude the food and the fuel, this will result into the CPI core. Why we are going for the CPI core? Because there is a lot of fluctuation in this food and fuel price. Food, because this is the seasonal in nature. You will see that the price of tomato is 20 rupees kg. It can be 200 rupees kg. Recently we saw that. Okay. So fluctuation is very high. This fuel also has so much fluctuation. It could go to the 120 barrel per dollar. Okay. And it can reduce to the $60 per barrel, not the $120 per barrel. Okay. So here you will see that there is the huge difference into the fluctuation. This is not you will observe into the cases such as you will not see it into your pain is resulting from the 10 rupees to the 20 rupees or the 200 rupees. Okay. Though your pain or whatever the pain you are using, you must have been observed that the price would have been the 8 rupees into your childhood. Now it is the 8 rupees to the 20 rupees. There is no such thing that from the 8 rupees this has become the 800 rupees. So this is the difference. Okay. So that's why the fluctuation is very high. We exclude this so that the policy can be made into the more efficient and more stable manner, and that's why we exclude that. Okay. So this is the difference. Please remember that for your prelims and the mains. Here it is give that the why there is so much fluctuation. The fluctuation is mainly due to the effective policy intervention has not been there from the government side, and particularly into the area of the supply chain. And why it is mainly mainly affecting the supply chain is affected by the biotic and abiotic stresses, both types of the stresses. And here you will see that there is no minimum support price for these three tops product, that is the tomato, onion and the potato. TOP, top. These products do not have the minimum support price, so please remember that in the prelims the UPSC can confuse you. So generally you will think that they are very sensible, there must be some of the MSP, but the MSP is not for these tops, tomato, onions and potato, please remember that. And now they are mostly sold to the private traders, government has no role, and that's why the fluctuation is very high. Besides that, you will see that we need to overhaul the agricultural value chain and improve the cold storage facility, because the poor people, the poor agriculture farmers do not have that much money to create the cold storage, and those cold storage from the private players is very costly. They cannot afford, and that's why the government need to bring all this thing. Okay, besides that, the farmers need to incentivize the production of the crop and cereal profitability in the cultivation into those areas where there has been a lot of fluctuation, and the government can help by the moderating the price of fertilizer pesticide, because there is the lot of high input cost on these area. Okay, so here you will see that one of the example of this abrupt change in the policy of the government is the restriction on the onion export. Recently, last year, we saw that there was the lack of the supply of the onion, and that's why the three major producers of the onions, the India, Pakistan, and Egypt, they restricted the export. And we saw that into the election season, the Indian government suddenly removed this restriction, and there was the abrupt change into the supply. Okay, so you will see that the demand for the minimum support price of the union is already going on, that but we have not provided. So all this thing you should know that what is the difference between the core CPI index and the what is the in a headline CPI, and beside that you should know that this tomato, onion and the potato, they do not have the minimum support price MSP. Next important news is again into the context of the recent decision with respect to the criminal charges on the leader of the Israel and the Hamas, that is the Palestinian Authority. And here it will see that it is by the International Criminal Court. So there is the difference between the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice. The first difference is that in International Court of the Justice, the cases are filed against the state, the countries. For example, it could be the India, Israel, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bhutan. They will be sued. But the International Criminal Court, the person who was responsible, who made the decision, are sued. For example, here the leader of the Prime Minister of the Israel that has been sued, and there has been the leader of these Israeli Authority, that are the name of the leaders are given here, that are not important. Yahweh Sinwar and other leaders are there. So the arrest order had been against these countries, and under that the arrest is being done by any of the country, and they have to hand it over to the International Criminal Court. So this is the procedure. However, we have not seen that such warrant of the arrest is continuous. However, the execution, the implementation is not, because already there has been the arrest order against the Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as the Sudanese President, the Umar al-Bashir. So here there has no arrest. However, the order has been there. They are situated there. This International Court, Criminal Court, has been created by the Rome Statute. This is the treaty This is the international treaty, under that ICC was formed. Please remember this. And the headquarters is again, it is the Hague. Okay. And here you will see that already India is not member of the ICC, but India is the member of the International Court of Justice. So please remember all this thing. We have provided all this thing into the our material as well. Here you will see that Israel and US are also not part of this ICC. So this is all about from this news opinion page, editorial page. Okay. Next important news that we are going to take is the on concern over voters turnout. So recently we saw that there was a lot of turnout data here. It is given that there was a difference in the turnout data that was provided just after the election of the first, second and third phase of the election, and the latter the revised turnout data. There was a huge difference. At the initial stage they just gave the around 61-62%, but the latter they increased it to the 6-7%, and that is the cause of concern, and that's why there is a case that has been filed by the ADR into the Supreme Court. And ADR question that how could be there is so much difference. This the NGO, Association for the Democratic Reform, that has filed the case, and it has questioned the validity and legitimacy of the data provided by the Election Commission of India, and why there is so much discrepancies between the two's data. So here there has been the consistently such questioning is going on. Okay. So you will see that this data, the provision of this data has been mentioned under the 1961 rules of the Election Commission of India, and you will see that under this provision the RO, the returning officers, have to bring and further the data just immediately after the election, and it is into the form of 17A and 17C. Here you will see that the 17A and the 17C, that is the form number, that is under that in this form this data is provided. In the one form, form 17A, the total number of the registered data voters are provided, and 17C, the voters, those voters who have voted has been provided, and under that we can calculate the percentage of the turnout. So let's see that what is going on. The rule is the 1961 rules followed by the Election Commission of India, and this is provide the form 17A and 17C. So in prelims they can ask that form 70A and 70C was into the news, what was the region. Okay. So they can also ask, you can also mention this point of the difference and discrepancies into the data of the Election Commission of India whenever you are going to criticize the legitimacy of Election Commission of India or the reform that is needed into the Election Commission of India. These are the areas that we can bring. So this is all about from the today's news article. We will conclude our session because we have already covered most of the relevant news from the today's news analysis and newspaper. So here we will conclude the session. Thank you for joining the session. All the best. Jai Hind.